Hey y'all, how's everybody doing? Oh, Sheba said, "Girl, I'm gonna check back." Well, Sheba, what happened was every time I get ready to go live, something else pops up in my actual life, and so when that happens, everybody know just before I get ready to go live, or either during the live, I'm gonna get a couple of phone calls, and that's kind of what happened. But I'm here now. Hey, J. True. Hey, Jace. Hey, Zess. What? Hey EJ, hey Miss Pretty Ring, Star Beverly, Angie, hey everybody. I love your intro, Mike. So, oh, thank you, Angie. This is something that was on StreamYard chat. Somebody's in some. You know what? I'm glad you said that because some people intros be so long that it's annoying. It take too long. Oh my god. Anyway, Crafts and House with Lita. Hey Cosmic Girl. Hey Sister. Oh yes, but it's been a minute, honey. Real life always for me takes precedence over YouTube. That with the fact I be getting burnt out a lot of the time, talking about some of the same old stuff and the same old people over and over again, that I just really just don't even bother. A class, hey, how you doing? Hey, Mimi 126. That's an energy. See if I happen. Hey, NYW, Michelle's daughter, Pam. How you doing? So anyway, let's talk, people. So I wanted to come on and speak about some true crimes. If y'all can hear me clearly, please someone let me know, signifying that you can hear me by just saying I can hear you good or hit the one or something, right? And if you can't hear me well, just let me know that as well, okay? I appreciate it. Other than that, I'm gonna go and have a conversation, right? So anyway, I wanted to come on, thank you Cosmic Girl, and uh talk about a couple of true crimes, right? And per the title of the video, um, uh, now what I saw on JDunn's community wall, that was a true crime as well. So I had to, so since it's beef subject, I had to speak on it real quick. But I want to talk about some actual true crimes that have been going on this past week in Memphis, right? So you guys know that I live in the state of Tennessee, but in Memphis we had two very, very disturbing incidents, right? Last week, right? And so the first one was the what's his name, the Cleotha Abston case, and the second one was the Ezekiel Kelly case, right? So I'm going to share some little info about those cases we can discuss because I'm like, dang, this is what we doing. You know what I mean? I mean, like black folks done lost their mind, but those cases are very interesting, right? So anyway, but first let's tackle the case of JDunn. Like I said, this is a true crime. JDunn, if you are watching, girl, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. One woman doing this to another woman, right? Now here's the thing. That here's what I'm gonna need y'all to help me make it make sense, right? Okay, so from what I understand, listening to the video, that you supposed to been hooking up with this girl, and now I don't know if you actually hooked up with her or not, or what the heck was going on, but at some point in time, um, she sent you a photo, right? So now I don't know what transpired with you and this girl, and I don't even know y'all, or even I don't even know if you met her off of YouTube. Now, number one, y'all gonna get enough of finding these people online and going offline and meeting them, right? Y'all gonna get enough of that, right? Y'all gonna get enough. Y'all gonna learn one day, right? Especially if you just done talk to them on the phone, you ain't never actually met them in person, and you go to talking to them on the phone. And in this case, the girl sent a photo to JDunn, and like I said, I don't know what transpired between her and that girl. So they never got around to meeting in person. Okay, see that yeah, see, I don't know what you met somebody on YouTube and you actually want to go offline or even talk to them on the phone. Why? Why? Not only there a lot of mental illness going on, which should be a red flag, there also should be the fact that you don't know, uh, uh, these people. So, but okay. Anyway, so anyway, um, so she never met the girl. But she talked to her. Now I've seen the community wall post, and which is the crime in my opinion. And she said she had phone, X with the girl and all of this and all that, right? So henceforth, maybe that's why she took a picture of her naked self and sent the photo to JDunn, right? So here's the crime. Now, people, I understand that this is very common, a common thing for some people to do. They send their naked photos to people, not just people, just a lot of people do it in general, right? And so I don't know why people do this, because once it's out there and out there, and it puts you and it sets you up for Giselle said reportedly the lady said that JDunn pursued her and that she wasn't interested. JDunn didn't like being lied on. Oh, but I mean, she sent JDunn that picture, so if she wasn't interested, then why she send the picture? But anyway, but why she send the picture in general? But if she didn't want JDunn, why she send the picture, right? So anyway, um, so y'all made me forget what I was gonna say. So anyway, I guess she was having according to JDunn, she asked for a photo of her stomach because the girl was complaining of how big her stomach was. Okay, and so she still sent it because I don't even know why. I mean, I don't care if she asked for a stomach a picture of my toe. You ain't even getting that. Okay. Anyway, so Jay don't want to. I that's just I'm not even gonna go there. But anyway, right? So the girl sent the photo. I guess they got into it at some point in time, either on YouTube or off YouTube, on the phone, or both, right? Because y'all know I don't look at these back videos, right? But something led me to over there because I seen something else and blah 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 blah, right? So anyway, the girl sent the photo. The photo is now out. I did make sure, and if it was the girl, if it was actually her, and that it's actually her from what the girl says out of her own mouth, right? I take it that it is actually her, right? Now, sometimes if you don't start nothing, it won't be nothing. And and then especially if you are not young, you ought to know that if you send these pictures to some of these fools on YouTube or wherever else, your picture is likely to get exposed at some point in time, right? It is possibly a setup. That's why I don't even understand why people talk to people on the phone, especially from YouTube, right? Or anywhere else, but especially on YouTube. Because 9 times out of 10, you being recorded or you spilling your guts to these content creators or other people in the background. I don't know why, because it's just going to get exposed. They just looking to get content off of your butt. Do you not realize this ain't nobody your friend on the internet, and especially in the beef sector or any other sector like this on YouTube? But folks ain't never gonna learn. Okay, but anyway, so and then maybe the girl felt like it was gonna be different with maybe she felt safe with sending her photo to JDunn because JDunn is a woman, right? And from one woman to another, here's the crime. Here's what I was confused about. Now, I don't know if JDunn felt like the girl had lied on her or whatever about the situation, and JDunn posted that thing on her community wall to prove that she wasn't lying, that JDunn herself wasn't lying. And maybe that's why she felt like she needed to do that or whatever. I don't know. But surely they had some conversations, maybe text messages where she could have posted that. The crime for me is it's kind of like it's bad enough when a man sets out to do revenge porn on a woman, right? But from one woman to another woman, they're not even teenagers. uh I don't know why anyone would. From one woman to another woman, like I said, they're neither one of them are teenagers. It's just bad at any age, right? But especially because these women are fully grown, why you would put this picture up on your community wall of another woman in general, whether she had lied on, you felt like she had lied on you or not, is beyond me, and that is the crime. The crime is not even revenge porn. Well, it's that, but also the crime is how you gonna set out to demean this woman, and you a woman yourself, right? So, and you're supposed to be a lesbian woman, right? So now, from what I understand, lesbian women now from what let me just say this from what I thought prior to me jumping on the internet, right? Because I have learned that some of these women that call themselves lesbian, especially the ones that say that they are butch, consider themselves, and JDunn considers herself a sir, right? So are you in competition with some of these men on here that treat women very badly? Is that your idea of manhood? Is that why you think you can treat women the way that you do? Because at the end of the day, you're another woman, you know. And you can't. And then let me backtrack and say you can't tell nobody how to fight. You know what I mean? But from one woman to another woman to put a picture out that's not very flattering, to be quite honest with you, out on another woman because she said something that you didn't like is beyond me, right? And so that is just a question that I have. And like I said, you can't tell people how to fight. True that, but I just had a question because JDunn is a lesbian, and I'm assuming the other woman is too. And so, I mean, like it would appear to me that especially the butch, because I don't know them all, some of the butch lesbians are in competition with these men that have an issue with some type of abuse, right? It's very abusive, right? Now, I've heard JDunn speak of another relationship that she's had in the past, and the whole thing just was like a whole hot mess. It was like violent. And I'm thinking, well, aren't you? You would think that from one woman to another, if you're going to engage in this sort of activity, wouldn't you have some more sense of compassion for one? And I'm just asking. It would appear to me that if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have, you're gonna be compassionate towards the other woman since you are a woman yourself. Like, how does that work? You know what I mean? So I don't understand that. So maybe it's just me. And then when it comes to the whole lesbian thing and even the whole gay man thing, I mean, we done heard some of these gay men how violent they are, at least verbally, towards one another. So if you are supposed to be, leaning towards your own sex when it comes to sexual whatever it is that you got involved, wouldn't you be more compassionate to the person in your same situation? Like I don't, I need somebody to make that make sense for me, because I have heard gay men on here. We all have heard call other gay men the F word, and from what I understand, they don't like being called that word. And when somebody else outside of the community calls them that word, they call them homophobic, right? So when I see a picture like this on Jay Dunn's wall and it's of another woman, like what? So I'm confused. But anyway, that was a crime. The crime for me was the fact that if you're going to engage in that kind of activity, why aren't you more understanding towards another woman? Like I said, I'm not trying to tell nobody how to fight, but this is just my commentary. Y'all know I got questions. I got questions because I am not a gay woman, but I would think that if I were, maybe I would be more compassionate towards women. I don't know, but maybe that doesn't factor in. But that's just a question that I would have. I don't know, but that's what common sense is telling me. I don't know. I don't know, but maybe somebody can educate me on that one day. Um, I don't I don't get it, but anyway, uh, and so PDP said, "Peace. I've seen a history of studs being very possessive to the point of violence." Wow, wow. But anyway, moving right along. So, but those are questions. Um, yeah, that's just how I don't understand that. But anyway, that is what I had to say about a crime that I saw in the beef sector. And Jay Dunn, if you're listening, perhaps you would like to come over and explain to me the mindset behind woman on woman relationships and how vicious they can be, and how very similar they can be when it comes to domestic violence between a man and a woman, right? Because we know when it comes to revenge porn, a lot of men and women that engage in heterosexual relationships love to do the revenge porn thing, right? And so, yeah, a straight woman, I mean, well, even if it's a straight woman, a woman in general. I don't know what Tracy said, but even if you're a straight woman and you posting pics of another straight woman, you would think that women should have a certain level of compassion towards other women. Like I said, it's just me, But in this situation, it is a lesbian relationship. Is what I'm assuming. But we weren't talking about, but it goes the same for straight. I shouldn't have to say that it go the same for, heterosexual women, right? And why, if you're a heterosexual woman, do you have a picture of another a naked heterosexual woman in your phone anyway? Because I don't want to see no other woman without her clothes on. But hey, maybe that's just me. Anyway, Cosmic Girl said, folks, traits are their traits, no matter gay or straight. If you are an a-hole or a violent person, that does change based on, I'm not saying it changes. Basically, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that anything is, I'm not saying that nothing is fair when it comes to love and war. My question was about compassion. I just said you can't tell nobody how to fight. And I'm not saying that your traits should change based upon your sexual preference. I'm talking about compassion, that from one woman to another, right? Whether they be heterosexual, but in this case, they're this a lesbian thing going on. But like I said, the same go. I don't want to see no other woman's pictures. Okay. I didn't say it was about gay or straight, but learn the person you're with to gain self-esteem. You don't send out new pics to content creator. Well, I think you came in late, straight out the Bush's podcast, because I said that at the top of the video, right? So now I'm not gonna get deterred on this gay or straight conversation because you're missing the meaning of the commentary. The meaning of the purpose of the commentary. The crime here is how one woman is being incompassionate towards another woman. That's what I'm saying, right? So JDunn has some unflattering pics posted of her. She's fully clothed. So if you had that done to you and you know how that made you feel, why then would you turn around and do it to somebody else? I'm just saying. And this is just a question. And you can't tell people how to fight, and I'm not telling her how to fight. I just had a question, right? So, but that is my question, because that's another thing. I am not in that part, in the community, if you will, and so, but as it pertains to that, from somebody that's not in the community, that is a question that I have, and I hold true to the question. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. I didn't say the person's sexuality played a role. I didn't say that. You need to go back and look at the beginning of the video, Pray Harder, because you sound like you in your feelings. Go back and listen to the beginning of the video. The video is about compassion from one woman to another woman, be she gay or straight. But in this case, it happened to be a lesbian relationship. Okay? I'm just saying. Go back and listen to the beginning of the video. Okay? I'm just saying. But anyway, moving right along. The next thing I want to talk about, because I'm not going to get bogged down with this, because I don't care if she gay or if she's straight. It's still a crime for one woman to do that to another woman. And just because you don't like it, and just because you're trying to spin a narrative, don't mean I didn't mean what the fuck I said. Now, moving right along. Anyway, I don't know why people think I'm going to try to walk the fuck something back or change something the fuck that came out of my goddamn mouth. Go back and listen to the beginning of the video. That shit's very irritating to me. Okay? Anyway, I don't care about the dynamic. I don't give a fuck. This was a teachable fucking moment and a fucking question. I don't give a fuck. At the end of the fucking day, whether they actually bumped coochies or not, I don't care. And why the fuck is you bumping coochies anyway? Alright? Now, if you really want to know, I don't give a fuck. Okay? Anyway, moving right along. So, the other thing that I want to talk about, per the title of the video, is now I could go on with that, but because I'm not petty, I'm gonna leave that conversation alone. Okay? Because I have questions about other things too when it comes to lesbian relationships, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Because yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone. So the other thing that we're gonna talk about tonight, and please hit the like button or not. But if you like this commentary, hit the like button. So the other thing we're going to talk about tonight is the case of this man right here. His name is Cleotha Abston, right? So, uh, okay, I was trying to read. Sorry about that. So I don't know if you guys heard about this. Some of you guys may have heard about this, but it was highly publicized. It made world news, and cable network news, and a whole lot of stuff. This man on your right of your screen, his name is Cleotha Abston. Now, the name alone, I could do an hour video on the name Cleotha alone, right? Oh, why in the world is his name Cleotha? But anyway, who child the name alone? I'm puzzled by the name. Anyway, his name is Cleotha Abston. And last Friday, not yesterday, because today is Saturday, but last Friday, I think it was September 2nd, he stalked, kidnapped, and murdered this woman on the right of your screen. Her name is Eliza Thatcher or something like that. Right, I'll get back to her name in a minute. There's so many names I got to remember in this video, right? A whole lot of names, right? So anyway, so this woman, she was on a jog, in her community at 4 a.m. in the morning. Now that is a conversation within itself. Also, when it comes to women, as women, we are not safe. At this day and time, especially out in the early morning times, and you jog, even if it is in your own community. Now, I'm sure that this lady's community was a lot better than Cleotha's community, right? Because they say that she is the heiress to a billionaire. Her grandfather owned a billion dollar hardware company, and she was heiress, to his company. So I'm sure she lived in a very nice neighborhood. And yes, she was a teacher. She was married. She had 2 kids. So I'm sure she lived in a nice neighborhood, and she felt comfortable jogging at 4 a.m., which was probably her routine, in her neighborhood, right? But nowhere is safe. It doesn't matter what your economic status is, or even your socioeconomic situation in general. As women, we have to know that we are not safe. And you should not be out at 4 a.m. no matter where you are, unprotected, right? I remember a long time ago, I told my niece, she used to like to coupon. Look, stop couponing in the dark. Stop going to these stores in the dark, okay? Because somebody can snatch you up. It's not safe, right? And so, but did people feel a sense of, sometimes she may have felt a sense of privilege, she may have felt safe. They're not blaming the victim. This is a warning to all women. This ain't about victim shaming. This about be safe. I shouldn't have to break this stuff down to the lowest common denominator. Okay? It don't matter your economic status. If you are a woman, be safe. Be aware of your surroundings. Okay? There is a message here. So for the record, let me say it out of my mouth. Ain't nobody victim shaming. Okay? Moving right along. Anyway, so he abducted this woman. He snatched her up from a routine. And he in the first place, he stalked the woman. Let me go back, because I lost my train of thought. I'm gonna stop reading these comments because I'm getting irritated, right? I already be burnt out, right? And I'll be coming on here trying to have a conversation about some true crime because I don't want to talk about the same couple of people, in the sector or anybody else on YouTube for that matter. And this is how I get burnt out. But as true crime goes, I really want to talk about these two cases because they are in my state. But anyway, let me go back. So, like I said, he abducted this woman. I feel like he stalked her. I feel like he got to know her routine, which is the reason why you should be safe. As a woman, you should always want to protect yourself. Be aware of your surroundings at all times, no matter where you are. And it shouldn't have to be that way, especially in your own neighborhood. But it is that way. And yes, just now, and when it comes to black women, now she's not, of course, but there is a high there the femicide, the black femicide rates have skyrocketed when it comes to black women being murdered ever since the pandemic, right? So that's just a side note. Anyway, let's get back to this, right? So anyway, I felt like he stalked her. I felt like Cleotha stalked this woman, and I felt like he learned her routine, and I felt like he picked the most opportune time, which is her jogging at 4 a.m. He probably figured out her route and everything, right? Like I felt like he truly stalked her before he went to snatch her up, right? Cause really, why? I don't think that somebody that looks like him, which clearly wouldn't be living in her type of neighborhood, would just randomly be there at 4 a.m. in the morning, right? Unless you looking to get in trouble. Because I don't think, like I said, it just don't match to me. Him being in that neighborhood, no. At 4 a.m. in the morning, no. You're not there just because you live there, right? That's just the way I saw it, right? And so I felt like he stalked her, not ain't no telling for how long, and he got her routine. So what happened was, per the news reports, first they were saying that this woman, of course, they're gonna, she got money, and of course, this gonna make nationwide news immediately, right? So they said that they were saying that the lady was on a jog, and she came up missing, right? So a day after that, um, they started, talking. A couple of days after that, they started talking about the evidence. So let's talk about the evidence, right? So when it comes to the abduction of this woman right here, at first the way that he stopped, she was jogging at 4 a.m. So she had to be in tip-top condition. They said that she was a marathon runner. And so what struck me was that a part of the DNA evidence was left behind, which helped them catch a hold of this guy real fast, helped the police catch him real fast, was he had to run so hard to catch up with this woman that he ran out of his flip-flops. They even described the type of, they said he was in some Nike, really, we'll call them not Nike, but Champion slides, right? We all know those slides that the guys and girls be wearing, with the socks and whatnot. So I think he started out chasing this woman. She seen him behind her, and she started running fast, right? And so she was a marathon jogger, tip-top shape. He had to run so hard that he ran up out of his shoes, right, to get this woman. But he was in jail for 20 years. He looked like he in tip-top shape to me too, right? And since he is a man, we know that men, especially when they're in tip-top shape, this woman, I think she said she was 130 something pounds, right? 5'6", 130 something pounds, right? So, but she gave him a run for his money, right? So he ran so hard, he ran up out of his shoes to catch up with the woman. Now, so evidently he caught up with her, and there was video surveillance of the car. So not only did he leave the flip-flops behind, you know how everybody got a camera, they got these cameras, all around their houses these days. So the video surveillance start popping up of the black SUV that was found in the neighborhood, that they say that he pulled her in this SUV. I learned today that the SUV was actually still in that spot for, they say, for a couple of hours, right? It was during that spot for a couple of hours, right? And so I just shudder to think what was going on while that vehicle was in that spot, right? So he chased her down, right? So my thinking is, let's go back to the how horrific it had to be, right? She was scared for her life, of course, right? Can you imagine somebody chasing you down at 4 o'clock? It's got to be like a horror movie, like one of those Jason, Freddy Krueger type movies, right? So this woman, this white woman, to be quite honest, see this big old black man chasing her at 4 o'clock in the morning. She automatic scared for her life, right? So she starts sprinting faster. He starts sprinting faster. Your adrenaline get to pumping, right? She making him work for it, right? Because she running for her life. Her fight and flight done kicked in, right? And so, he chased her down. Now I think, now for me, in my mind, because he had to run so hard to chase this woman down, I feel like he had to tackle her, right? He had to tackle her because he was behind her. And when he tackled, because there was a lot of blood evidence. So my thing is, when he tackled her, did her face hit the pavement? You know what I mean? Because he had to tackle her, like, because he had to, I felt like he had to lunge for it, right? So I felt like he tackled her to the ground, but he had to lunge for it, right? Because she was running so hard and so fast. And you could tell, from the way that they was explaining all the evidence, all the DNA evidence in the SUV that, she put up a fight, right? And so he tackled her to the ground. That's what I think. And I don't know if she was still fighting when he got her to the SUV, or that's what I was thinking at first. Was she still fighting, or was she knocked out? Because she had been thrown to the ground, right? But that question was answered for me. Clearly, she was still awake. She wasn't knocked out as he's taking her to the SUV. So I'm thinking, since she was awake, she was probably trying to scream, but he probably had his hand over her face and over her mouth, her midsection, right? And the reason why I imagine that is because when the police examined the SUV, they noticed one of the back lights had been, looked like it had been kicked out or knocked out. So I'm thinking her legs are flailing because he's getting her back to the SUV, to the back of it, right? He got to lift it up. He got his hands over her mouth and around her waist. You know what I mean? So she's kicking, she's flailing, she's trying to get away. You know what I mean? And so I think she might have, and in my mind, while she was kicking and flailing, while he's trying to put her in the back of the SUV, that's how she kicked out the back, light or whatever, right? So, excuse me. So he gets her into the back of the SUV, and Lord, ain't no telling what happened there, right? But he don't kill her, just a demon. That's right. It's just a demon, right? A demon, right? And I can imagine she fought hard, And so he gets her in the back of the SUV. They said that SUV stayed there for a couple of hours. Now, mind you, this started happening around 4 a.m. ish in the morning. So that means that from 4 a.m. to 6 or 6:30, the vehicle was still in that spot, right? Now, he didn't kill her there at that spot. I ain't no telling. We can only imagine what all was done to her, right? And so eventually he pulls off with the woman, and she is taken to an ATM to withdraw money, right? But while she's at the ATM or the gas station or the store, wherever, they said she had a chance to scream, because some people that were interviewed said that they heard a woman screaming, right? So she wasn't killed before she was made to withdraw money, right? So sometimes between 4 a.m. and 7:30 is when she was murdered. But we know that it was after 6 o'clock, But after he held her in that, I want y'all to picture this, he done chased her down, right? He done kept her in the back of the SUV for a couple of hours. Then he done took her to withdraw money. And somewhere after the withdrawal of the money, which has to be between 6, which has to be after 6 o'clock, because if you kept her there for 2 hours, right? Between 6 and 7:30, we know we're not coming up with the 7:20, 7:30 sign, is because that's when he was seen cleaning out the van, right? At 7 something in the morning, right? And so He did what he did to her in the back of the van, made her withdraw money. Uh, People saying they heard her screaming. And somewhat after that, next thing they talk about is a cleaning out of the van, right? Which was early in the morning, right? So witnesses also say that when he was going into the house, it looked like he had on bloody clothes, right? And that was confirmed by the fact that when they after they had found out where he wasn't. Oh, and by the way, because of those flip flops that he left at the scene, CODIS, which is the system that they put criminals' DNA information in, because of the DNA that was found on those flip flops, that is what led authorities to him in the first place, right? Because I believe that whatever video footage that they have, that video footage that I seen was very grainy, and I don't think that you can make out his face. Now, I didn't see any video footage of his face, of them two actually going to the SUV, but the video footage that I seen of them, of the car being in that spot, it was very grainy. So I doubt if the police could make out his face, but I do believe that the DNA that was taken off of his flip-flops is what led them to him, to Cleotha, in the first place, right? Because his DNA evidence was in the database for ain't no telling how long, because when he was 16 years old, he did something similar to this. Prior to that, he had been charged with stuff like truancy and rape and a whole lot of other stuff, right? So I don't know at what point in time they put his DNA information into the CODIS, but I think that DNA, had he not left those flip-flops, it would have taken them longer to find him, right? Because like I said, the footage that I saw was really grainy. But thank God he left those flip-flops behind, right? Because that's how they tracked him down. So they say they seen him with the bloody clothes on, right? So the police say when they entered into that house where he was staying with his brother, because of him, also on a side note, his brother was arrested on gun and drug charges. I guess he was a dope dealer. Now he done got his brother hemmed up. That didn't have nothing to do with the murder, but now he got to go to jail because he done got caught up because his sicko demonic brother killed this woman, right? So now he got a charge too, right? So anyway, they found the clothes where he had tried to wash the clothes, the bloody clothes, and also witnesses stated that they seen him washing out trying to clean out the back of the SUV. DNA evidence showed there was DNA left in the back of the SUV. That DNA was his DNA, and also the DNA of Eliza Fletcher, of the victim, right here that you see on the screen, right? So that was found, and so a little while after that, he was taken into custody. He was not charged on murder at that point in time, but a couple of days after that, maybe even one day after that, they found her body behind a vacant apartment building, right? So he has now been charged with murder. So but this whole thing is very interesting. It didn't seem random to me from the jump. And I'm thinking, so are you just a stalker and you just stalked this woman? And if you just stalked this woman, why this woman right here in particular? Like, what was the deal with that, right? So, but it's very interesting. So the reason why it's interesting to me is because when he was 16 years old, he abducted a lawyer, right? He abducted Cleotha Abston, abducted and kidnapped a lawyer, and he kept him in the back of his car. He made him drive around to several ATMs at the time and withdraw money. And so this is some of what that man, he was a lawyer, and he actually worked in a law firm that Miss Fletcher's uncle owned. His last name was Durant. I got a picture of him. Let me show you who he was, right? Hold on a minute. I got these screenshots. I got to get them together. So this is why it seemed like it's not a coincidence to me that this stuff is going on, right? So let me roll it back. So in 2001, did I get that photo? Uh, Shoot. I don't even think the photo posted. Hold on a minute. So in 2001, let me see if I can find the photo, y'all. I knew all I wasn't gonna post. But anyway, in 2001, he kidnapped an attorney by the name, his last name was Durant. He kidnapped this attorney, and it seemed like it was, I don't think it was even random at that time, but the attorney goes on to say that the attorney is dead, the one that he kidnapped. And like I said, that attorney worked for the law firm, the uncle's, the woman's uncle's law firm, right? And this is 2001. Now he subsequently died of like cancer or something, right? But he kidnapped him and he drove him around. He later put him in the trunk of the car and he drove him around for a number of hours. He later, first he was in the trunk of the car, then he got him out of the car to withdraw money. Uh, because he was able to, when he took him out to draw money, he got some help from like a security guard or somebody, right? They helped him and they helped him, they helped him get away from the then 16-year-old Cleotha, right? And so, but now I couldn't figure out if if this Durant guy represented him, right? So, but some of the early charges that he got, because they said he had a rough upbringing, right? So before he kidnapped the lawyer, the Durant guy, he actually got charged with stuff like truancy, rape, evading arrest. The very first charge that he got, I think they said he was 12 years old, and it was for theft of property, right? I think that was when he was 12, and he did all of this stuff leading up to when he was 16, and he kidnapped the lawyer, right? So he had been doing stuff, and then finally that happened, right? So let me see if I can pull this up right here. Yeah. Now, but like I said, before he was charged with murder, let me go back. They had charged him with aggravated kidnapping and tampering with evidence. They charged him with tampering with evidence because he was trying to wash the blood off out of the car and off of his clothes and stuff, right? And they also charged him with police say there was DNA evidence found near where Fletcher was last seen, right? So I think the DNA evidence, a little bit of the DNA evidence we know for sure was a flip flops. Now I don't know if it's blood or not because I think he had to tackle her to the ground because she was so fast. That's what I think. I think she was running for her life. Her adrenaline kicked in. She was already a runner. That's how I feel about it, right? So witness told the police they saw him cleaning the SUV that took Fletcher. I told you about that. And these were the charges before the body was found behind a vacant apartment building, close to where he lived, close to around the area where he lived, right? That's where they found the body, right? So leading back up to that, in 2001, he kidnaps the lawyer. The lawyer worked for the law firm that her uncle now owns, right? But he has now died. And so that's very interesting. So I don't think that it's too much of a coincidence for me. Now he did 20 years in jail for kidnapping that man, that Durant guy, and I really want to pull up his picture. He flattened his time. He did not. Some people were saying that he got out early. He did not serve all the time, but that is not the truth. He served all his time for that. He flattened the time. And so they had to let him out of jail. Let me try to find this man's picture. So, but he flattened that time and he got out of jail, right? Now, so my thing is, had he been thinking about, getting some kind of revenge on this man for 20 years in jail? Like, here it is. Here's the picture. Hold on, let me try to upload it for you guys. This is the guy right here. This is the 2001 victim, right? It said the 2001 victim. He was a defense attorney, Kemper Durant, and he had ties to Elijah Fletcher in some way. And the way that he had ties to her was he worked for, like I said, her uncle's law firm, right? Now, that's too much of a coincidence to me, but okay. Now, this is just my theory, right? So he kidnaps this guy for whatever reason. What he got to do with this guy, I don't know. I don't know if he was a defense attorney for the state and he had prosecuted him on something else that he had done prior to him being kidnapped. I don't know what that situation was, right? But he subsequently kidnapped this man, and as a result of him kidnapping this man, like I said, he got 20 years for it. He did all his time. Some people were thinking that he did not serve his whole time and he got let out of prison early. That is not true. He did the 20 years. He was in jail until 2 years ago, but he flattened that time and they had to let him out of jail, right? So my thing was, this whole time, was he seeking to get some kind of, did he have some kind of vendetta against this man, this Durant guy, or Eliza Fletcher's uncle, the law firm? Like, you really got to ask yourself going on. And if this Durant guy didn't have nothing to do with Cleotha or his case, was it just a random abduction to get money? Now you would think that possibly, but that don't sound right to me either, because we know, sometimes, black folks, they want to steer clear of a lot of Anglos, like in general, right? Right, it sounded like he was sent, right? Even with this case of Durant, like, when he kidnapped him, was he sent to do that? You know what I mean? Like, what was the deal with that? That sound, shady. I don't see the 16-year-old boy just picking him out for no reason. And then if he was 16, this the I don't know. I don't know. But hey, these are just my theories. I don't know. Something sounds fishy to me, right? And so, like I said, he gets out of jail 2 years ago, and then last week he stalks and murders Eliza Fletcher, which is the uncle. Her uncle was actually the spokesperson. He spoke on camera, and the uncle, the guy that spoke on camera, and asking for any information about Eliza. That man that spoke on camera is the owner of the law firm that this guy worked for 20 years ago, right? So this guy right here is now dead. He died of cancer. Before he died, he petitioned the courts for leniency when it came to Eliza, to Cleotha, and also there was a 12-year-old. Cleotha was 16, and there was a 12-year-old. That's a good question, March. We're gonna talk about that. There was a 12-year-old with Cleotha at the time of the abduction when Cleotha was 16. So this guy right here, years before he died, he asked for leniency for the two guys, because at the time they were teenagers, right? So maybe he felt like they were giving too much time. I don't know what it was, but it says that he asked for leniency for the two, right? So, because he didn't want to go to his deathbed. And my thing is, okay, so why are you feeling guilty about going to your deathbed? Because Cleotha done gave 20 years for kidnapping you. And the only reason why I think you can feel guilty about that is, like, do you have some, what is it that you have to feel guilty about if he wronged you just randomly? Do you see what I'm saying? It don't make no sense. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't. That don't make sense to me. But anyway, especially down south, I'm thinking, what? He asked for leniency, but anyway, he still had to do the whole 20 years, right? So he's in jail for 20 years, and my thing is, are you ruminating on the fact that you went to jail for 20 years? Are you ruminating the fact that you should have spilled the beans on whoever it is that you possibly could have allegedly, been sent to do this crime for? Like, what happened, right? So, or you want revenge, but you gotta know this man is dead, right? So, but this man is dead, right? But her uncle owns the law firm. The uncle clearly is still alive. Are you trying to extort some money out of him? Like, did she get snatched up because of the uncle and not this Durant guy? Because this Durant guy, which is now dead, is not even the one that's some kin to her. but he worked for the person that is some kin to her uncle. So was this an attempt to get some more money out of him? Because you had to serve 20 years in prison. Is the uncle the ones that sent you to kidnap Durant in the first place? To keep Durant quiet about something? Like, what is really going on? These are all my theories, right? Now, these are just my theories. I'm not even gonna say allegedly because these are my theories, but and allegedly, and then what's not alleged is that these are my theories, right? This is how I'm thinking. This is how my mind working, right? So I'm just wondering. It's just too much of a coincidence. It don't sound random to me. You see what I'm saying? It don't make sense. It just Yeah, I mean, yeah, she the victim, but my thing is, and then right, okay, so she the heiress, right, of this billionaire's her granddaddy's fortune, right? She's a billionaire, right? Now, I seen the video, quite as it as kept, that people, some Anglos, was on a Facebook video, uh, also theorizing that the uncle and her husband might have something to do with this abduction, right? So if we gonna follow that theory to get to her money or whatever, right? So if we gonna follow that theory, is it a possibility that it could be something else going on here? Because clearly this is not random. Because it's too many strings, it's too many dots that's being connected, right? But like I said, I seen some people theorizing that possibly, or just saying, what if the uncle and the husband had this done to this woman to get to her money? That's possible too. Now my sister says she don't think they had nothing to do with it, right? Right. But now that's true. One and the other scenario is that he sat in jail for 20 years and he had a vendetta, right? But my thing is, right, if you got a vendetta against Durant, which is the guy that you kidnapped, why is you not gonna kidnap somebody in Durant's family? Why are you kidnapping Durant's boss? Unless you got a vendetta against the law firm in general, right? But your uncle, is it that her uncle just happens to own the law firm, right? But for whatever reason, I don't think that this was a coincidence. Like it don't make sense to me. It's no way possible that this is random. That's my issue, right? Hey, seven said right because she left at 4. And when she didn't return by 7, he called the cops, right? Usually wait for 24 hours. If the grown person disappears, that's it. I didn't think about that, but that's the truth. But that's the truth. You know, that's something else to factor in. You got to think about that. At 7 a.m., he called right out. Now, how is it now? Okay. Now, see, we talking, right? Now, Sylvia put this down. My sister said it out loud. How you gonna call right off at 7 o'clock? So now, mind you, he kept the girl in the back of the SUV for a couple of hours before he drove her to withdraw some money from the ATM, which was around 7ish. Because after 7, people said they seen him getting out the SUV with bloody clothes, and around 7:20ish is when some other people said they seen him cleaning out the back of the van. Right? How the husband gonna call at 7 a.m. and at 7, just a little bit after 7, between 7 and 7:30, you heard Cleotha trying to get rid of blood evidence. That don't sound convenient to y'all? Well, then that too. He could have been worried about his wife because she didn't come back from work at 4 o'clock, right? Which is okay. And of course, they are going to pay. These people is rich. She's an heiress, so of course they're gonna start working on it immediately, right? So now we got it. Now, if we was like us people, right? Us regular people, they're gonna say 24 hours. Then she could have just left, and we're gonna let you file a police report in 24 hours, right? Because the person grown, right? But she rich. Now we going through all the scenarios. She rich. I'm not trying to make her not be a victim. It's not about her. She dead. We know she a victim. But the issue is, Right, and I get that, but I'm saying out of scenario, but also he ain't the only one that had to be sick in this scenario. If their family had something to do with it, he would have been told by now, and it would have been more. But not necessarily. I think he would. Not necessarily. And how we know he ain't said nothing though? But how we know he ain't said nothing though? But how we know he ain't said nothing, right? But we don't know. But we just going through the scenarios, right? But at the end of the day, yes, she's a victim and she dead at the end of the day for whatever reason. But I just don't find it as a coincidence that 20 years later he still got something to do with this girl's family. Right? I just don't see that as a coincidence. But anything could happen. And his husband and her uncle may not have it. We don't know. These just theories. We don't know. I'm not saying nothing concrete. I don't know nothing about Cleotha. These are just theories, right? These are just theories, right? And so he waited for 2 hours in that spot. He stayed in that spot for 2 hours, and that's what the police, and God knows, but he still didn't kill her in that spot. She still was alive because he took her to withdraw money from the ATM, in which people said whoever the witness was, recognized the van, the SUV, and said that they heard a woman screaming from the SUV. So she wasn't. She ain't no telling. We can only imagine, or don't want to imagine, what was done to her in those 2 hours prior to him pulling out from that spot, right? But she didn't get killed there, right, at that spot, at that point in time. She got killed after, right? So the ordeal started around 4:30ish, and it ended, I guess, around about maybe 6:57. And so he dumped. It sounded like he may have dumped her body on the way home to get rid of the blood evidence, right? Because the police said that it was in a vacant apartment building, in the back of the vacant apartment building that was in the area of where Cleotha lived. So he dumped her body on the way home to start getting rid of the blood evidence. Now we know that for sure, right? But the conspiracy comes in for me is why all these extra people? It seemed awful convenient. Is all I was trying to say. Nobody's trying to, at the end of the day, oh my God, I can't imagine what she went through. But she got some. When money is involved, people will do. It ain't no telling what people will do to get to that money, right? And so here go two incidents, 20 years apart, and the uncle got something to do with this girl. First, the thing with the Kemper, because Durant worked for him, and now this is the guy's niece, right? So the uncle is tied to both of these cases. And you got to ask yourself, is just a coincidence, or, you know what I mean? Is this just coincidence? Huh? Yeah, now that's true too. That's something else I want to mention. Um, I'm wondering. No. Oh, and I just seen a video earlier today that Cleotha has been charged with a rape that didn't have nothing to do with this Elijah Fletcher case. So me and my sister was talking the other day. Now we said ain't no telling how many women that came up missing, or how many how many cold cases there are in his own neighborhood because he been out for 20 years. Well, he done been charged. He got a rape charge that don't have nothing to do with this case. That's why I said he been out for 2 years. Did I say 2 years? He been out for 2 years. He served a 20-year prison term. He been out for 2 years. So who knows what else he done in this point in time. And like I said, a rape that don't have nothing to do with this Elijah Fletcher case. He's been charged with the rape. So the code is the DNA. I guess I'm assuming they run the DNA, on some of these cold cases, right? Especially the ones surrounding his neighborhood. That's what it sounded. And who knows whatever else is going to be found by way of his DNA. Who knows whoever else? Because we know that when we see something like this happen to Elijah Fletcher, unfortunately, this Anglo woman, it's gonna get picked up and they gonna solve it. We've seen it time and time again. We've seen it with that YouTube the YouTube girl that went missing. This Kylie chick, they said she's those abductions and stuff. They're highly publicized, even when it comes down to our children. Our when we are black and missing, right? It takes them longer to figure out if they even want to investigate at all. But because this is so high profile, I am not surprised that he has been charged with rape in an unrelated incident. I'm not surprised at all, and I'm just wondering what else they gonna figure out. How many other cold cases? Because they're gonna search back from the time that he got out of jail, right? Especially the cold cases in his area. And so it would be interesting to figure out to see if some more cases are going to be solved because of his DNA and some of these unsolved mysteries cases and black people, right? So we're glad to see. But there's already been a rape connected to his DNA, like I said, that don't have nothing to do with Elijah Fletcher. Because clearly this Cleotha that had a whole lot of problems, and his criminal jacket started when he was 12 years old, right? He had already raped somebody prior to him kidnapping this Kimber Durant guy. And that had to be at 16 or before age of 16, because he went to jail for 20 years after he kidnapped this guy. But prior to that, like I said, he was charged with rape and truancy and a whole lot of other stuff that I showed y'all, right? So at the end of the day, this Cleotha, he ain't nothing nice, right? He ain't nothing nice. And I don't care what color the people are involved in this. Just let me say this. Nobody deserves to be stalked and pretty much, oh Lord. But then you know what? This what make me sick too. He fed this Cleotha. Another reason why I'm so disgusted by him, on a side note, aside from what he did to this woman, is because this Negro right here, he fed into every negative stereotype that they put on the back of a black man. Now, right? Now, do y'all remember, we talked about this a long time ago. I don't hardly do, real content anymore. But some of you guys may have remembered me doing a video when I talked about the Red Summer. The Red Summer of 1919. And the Red Summer of 1919 is when there were a whole lot of race riots. A whole lot of black people were murdered, moreover black men. And what they did, and they killed thousands of black people during the Red Summer. That's why they call it the Red Summer. And a lot of those incidences, they cited that a black man raped an Anglo woman. So they gave them the excuse to hunt down and murder at random. Like whole towns of black people were dislocated, and then hundreds of people possibly, and dozens of people in that community. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Rosewood or not. Now, Rosewood actually happened, right? So how Rosewood got started was this white woman, she was married, right? Her husband came home and found her beat up and disheveled, and she blamed it on the black man in the town that used to go around, doing handyman work, right? Now, that ain't what happened. According to the story of Rosewood, she was a whore anyway, and one of those Anglos that she was sleeping with probably beat her up, right? But she blamed it on the black man. Because she blamed it on the black man, the Anglos went around and, just pretty much was trying to, just kill whoever black they could get, men, women, and children. Like, their whole area of this town was burned down and destroyed, and dozens of black people were murdered, all because this white woman lied on this black man, which fed into the stereotype of black men just want to, do this sort of thing that he actually did to Anglo women. And so they feel justified in doing this. They felt justified in committing that crime back then against all black people, because they're protecting their woman, right? So that was the way they justified. The same thing happened with Black Wall Street. A black man was accused of raping an Anglo woman, and that was their justification for bombing for bombing Black Wall Street. That was the justification. So what Cleotha did, which is also absolutely disgusting and disturbing to me, is the fact that he fed into all of these stereotypes. Think about it, is he actually did it. He actually did it, right? He actually stalked this woman down and all-word her, in my opinion. That's why he was sitting there for 2 hours. And no telling whatever else heinous he did to the woman. And murdered her and left her for dead. That fit into all of those stereotypes, right? So, but there's one point in time in this country to where his whole community would have been burnt down for something that he done, right? For something that he actually did. That don't make no sense to me. That means you ain't nothing but a demon, and you deserve what you get for several reasons. I have no remorse for Cleotha at all. He deserved what he get, and that's just how I feel about it. But anyway, was there anything else? Okay, so that happened, right? Cleotha did all of that. He got caught immediately. He ain't even showing no remorse now. Like, no remorse was in his face when he was going to the preliminary hearing or whatever. He was up there looking like whatever. So another theory that I had was, did he get out of jail knowing that he was gonna do this? Did he plot this for 20 years? That's another question that I had, to be quite honest with you. I haven't seen it, Seven. I haven't seen the Little Mermaid teaser, but I'm glad they letting what is her name? Haley do the Little Mermaid again, because didn't they? It was so much backlash at first about her playing the Little Mermaid. I thought they gave it to a Hispanic girl to do instead of Haley. So, but I'm glad to see she back. I don't know. I'm confused about that. People are so worry free to be just jogging around for. Yeah. Well, I mean, some people, she felt like she was safe in her community, right? Because she is insulated in her world. What go on in her world? She thinking this possibly can't happen in my world because I'm good in my world. I'm safe in my community. This ain't gonna happen to me. I'm jogging in my own community. But it's just unfortunate that she didn't realize that, hey, bad things happen, no matter your socioeconomic status. That's unfortunate, But nobody deserves to get done the way that she was done. And I don't care who it is, right? That's absolutely inhumane and it's demonic. Just let me say that. And there is no excuse for whatever reason. But I talked about it so long because I don't think that it was random at the end of the day. But we ain't gonna know if Cleotha don't never say nothing. All we can do is speculate. But it's I just feel like it's too much of a coincidence. It's too much money involved. It's too many overlapping incidents in a 20-year span involved. What if he didn't say nothing? What if the whole time he was in jail, the whole 20 years, he was getting put some money and stuff put on his book so he can be quiet? What if that happened? You see what I'm saying? Well, we don't know what happened. We don't know what the real deal is. If Cleotha don't open his mouth, we already know he premeditated first degree murder. In my state is the death penalty. So that's what he got to look for. And it clearly is premeditated. By the fact that he stalked her, he chased her down, that's premeditation right there. I ain't even talking about the extra theories. I'm talking about the fact that he had to give chase to her. He didn't live in that community. I don't think it was random. Clearly, he wasn't supposed to be in that community. So for me, that's premeditation. And yeah, that's death penalty. Premeditated murder in the state of Tennessee is death penalty. It's punishable by the death penalty. And so I of course, clearly we already know what he gonna get, right? And so, but yeah, that's what it is. But I sure would like to know his side of the story. I sure would like to know what led up to that. But I don't know if we'll ever know. We'll move right along. I kept y'all over hour. I talked about this too much. Something else happened in Memphis. And the something else that happened in Memphis was also last week. I don't know if you guys seen this. Now I seen this going down my community wall. This one was from Nick at Night. Now, I didn't know nothing was going on until I saw this, until I seen this. I had to figure out what was going on. They said it was an armed and dangerous man. They put up his picture right here. He was going around shooting people on Facebook. He was live streaming him going around shooting people, on Facebook. He was live streaming it on Facebook, talking crazy on Facebook while he randomly shooting these people, right? So there's even a backstory to this though. So this guy's name is Ezekiel. Hold on, I got another picture for you guys. His name is, here he is. His name is Ezekiel Kelly. He was 19 years old. Okay. And he was the one going around live streaming on Facebook while he's shooting people. Now he killed three on his shooting rampage, his shooting spree. He killed 3 and injured 3. He killed 3 people and he injured 3 people, right? Now, here's the thing though. Before this rampage started, his very first victim, before he went on the shooting spree, so here's what's interesting to me. So he's clearly demonic as well. Before his shooting spree, he had got into it with this man's friend. Let me put this man. He got into it with this man, and his last name is Truesdale, right? A day prior to the shootings that he did, he got into it with a couple of days prior. He got into an argument with this man. His last name was Truesdale. We're gonna call him Truesdale. Too many first names for me to remember. He got into it with this guy, and the day of the shooting spree, this guy, they are at him, Truesdale, and the Ezekiel Kelly are at this man's home. His last name is Cash. They were at this man's home. Is because the Truesdale fellow that he got into an argument with the day before he shot him, the Truesdale, and this Cash right here, they were business partners. The Cash and the Truesdale, they were business partners, right? They had a food, a barbecue food sort of thing, truck sort of thing that they were getting ready to do, and Ezekiel was there also. They were all, I don't know if you call them friends, but they all knew one another. So Truesdale Ezekiel Kelly killed Truesdale in this man's parking area, in his parking area in front of his house. That is the first shooting that Ezekiel Kelly did, was of the Truesdale guy, right? He killed this man first prior to the rampage. And after this, they say around 4 o'clock or so, 4 p.m. ish, that is when he started randomly shooting people on Facebook Live. It was just crazy, right? But he killed this man's first before the rampage. You know what I mean? And so let's see. So he killed this guy first, then he went on the rampage. Now, while some people actually seen the Facebook Lives going on, and they caught little snippets of it, but of course, when Facebook catch on to it, they gonna snatch it down, right? But I got a little something. I seen a video to where just some of the stuff that he was saying. Now, eventually, he goes into a store. I don't know if it was the AutoZone or he goes into the store. And he still, see, it appears to show. It says, in a video allegedly posted by Kelly, appears to show the suspect walking. Yeah, this is it, into the AutoZone, where he aims a handgun at a man inside and pulls the trigger. So this is what he said. His response to him pulling the trigger to the guy in the AutoZone, right? He's on Facebook Live saying, check this S out. I pulled up and do this S. Kelly said in the footage, he said, quote, um, what do those N words say? Question mark, no faking, no faking. He said, you heard me, this is for real. I mean, I'm guess he's saying, I'm doing this for real. I ain't faking, I'm doing this for real. So he proceeds to shoot the man in the auto zone, right? He says, on my mama, how do you think I'm playing? This is so real, man. Like he shot this AutoZone person, and he's letting everybody know that this for real. Like I do this for real. I ain't faking it for the internet. I'm for real about this. And so evidently, that's what he said. On Facebook, a little snippet of it, while he was in the process of shooting a man by the AutoZone, right? And so he said that, and this is just he killed somebody at the gas station. And also he killed this little girl right here. This is random, I guess. But she had just turned 17 years old. Her name was Quateria Wright. She had just turned 17 years old. She was a victim in the gun violence. Now, her father, his name is Quaterian, right? He got on Facebook and he was urging people to please stop the violence. After his daughter Quateria, she was named after him. He did this on the FB live stream. He was crying. The video is just real sad, y'all, right? And he's saying, I don't want this to happen I don't want y'all to feel what I'm feeling. Please stop this gun violence. And he did that video on the Facebook live stream. After he found out that his daughter had been shot. And like I said, she had just turned 17 years old. And the video is so sad. They kept that up. They didn't snatch that down. And I did actually watch that video. But she died. And this woman right here, she did let the news people talk to her. Her name is Matisha McLaughlin. And he actually talked to this lady just before she and her father was on the side of the road or the interstate, like on the on ramp before you entering onto the interstate. And because they had a flat tire, a blowout tire, right? So her dad was trying to fix the tire, and she was 44 years old. And he pulled over as well. He walks up to her in front of the car and says, "Excuse me, ma'am, can you tell me how to get to Whitehaven?" And after that, he shot her, but he shot her in the leg. And she said that in the report said that she believed that he would have killed her if he didn't see her father raised up on the other side on the end of the car, and the father felt like he didn't shoot him because he felt like the dad had a gun in his hand. He said that he didn't have a gun in his hand, but what he had was a tire iron in his hand. And so he ran off after he shot the daughter. But they feeling like if the Ezekiel guy, she would have been killed too had he not thought that this woman's old man had a gun. Her father had a gun. He thought it was a gun, but it was a tire iron. So, but she survived though, and she did an interview telling about her ordeal with the whole thing. It's just like it's a whole lot. So he goes on. So his rampage ended after 7, and he had carjacked a couple of people. He started out in one car, and he had carjacked the last person was a black man. He carjacked him. He didn't shoot him or nothing. He just carjacked him. And the last carjacking, it was after 7 o'clock and 7 p.m. And they found him, but he gave a little bit of a chase. Now they also said on one of those Facebook videos that he was gonna have a shootout with the police and that he ain't going back to jail and all this and all that, right? Well, the police had a brief chase with him, and they stopped him. I think they said somewhere in Mississippi or Arkansas or Alabama. It was somewhere not far from Memphis, right? Because you know how several states would be adjoining your states, right? And so they found him in Mississippi, and of course they brought him back to Memphis where he is, and he's jailed in Memphis right now. But he was trying to get away, and the last person that he carjacked, he didn't shoot him or nothing, but he did carjack him, and that was the car that they found in Memphis. And they said after the police chase, he did finally stop, and there were two high-powered weapons in that car. So he didn't shoot at him or nothing, but he did stop. So I guess he figured he didn't want to die after all. I mean, but he said he was, he was going down in the blaze of glory. That's what he claimed anyway. But nah, he just, he in jail right now as we speak. Ain't nothing wrong with him. And yeah, he was 19 years old. You have to ask what happened to him in his short life. Yeah, that's true too. But first, like I said, I guess the thing that set him off was he figured he was going to jail anyway because he killed that boy uh, that he knew, that Truesdale guy. They had an argument the day before. After that, the day after that, shot the boy in a dude's parking lot in a driveway. And I guess after that, I don't know if his mind snapped. Oh, and also this woman right here, her daddy said when he raised her with that tire in his hand and he looked Ezekiel in the eyes, he said his eyes was demonic. He didn't see nothing but demons in his eyes. He said it wasn't nothing but a demon staring back at him. And I was like, you know what? I believe it. I believe it. That's what the old man said in this interview right here. It's what Lakeisha's father said. He saw in his eyes. And so yeah. But those are the two. But Memphis was hot last week, y'all. Memphis was hot last week. And he also had and when it comes to this Ezekiel guy, he has a prior record also. Let me see if I can find it. This was interesting too. So right here, right, 19, he had been charged with. Now, prior to this, he had been charged with criminal attempted first-degree murder. This is in 2021, right? Ezekiel now 19, but in 2021, he had been charged with criminal attempted first-degree murder. The case was pled down to aggravated assault. Like I said, in 2021, he was sentenced to serve 3 years in prison, but he only served 11 months. Instead of doing 3 years for aggravated assault, really a first-degree attempted murder, which was pled down to aggravated assault, sentenced 3 years, he only served 11 months. And he was released in March 1st of this year, March 16th, almost 6 months prior to this shooting spree. So he only did 11 months, and almost 6 months prior, that is when, almost 6 months to the date, he does this right here. And so they now they're talking about they're wanting to do harsher sentencing. Like if you get 3 years, they want you to do 3 years. You know what I mean? And what it's gonna result in is harsher sentencing across the board, but especially when it comes to black and brown people, because we are in the state of Tennessee. And so now they're really going to put their foot on the neck, but guess what? After these two incidences right here, can you blame it? Like, my God. Why would you want to feed into all the negative stereotypes already placed on you as a black man? You know what I mean? And so, yeah. You really can't get mad when they say they're going to start enforcing tougher prison sentences. Now, we already got a for-profit prison, so you just want to do stuff like this to make it be on your black ass even more, even harder than they already are in the state of Tennessee? That's nigga shit. Okay? Yeah, April, I wrote back, and yeah, thanks for checking on me. Yeah, I was just fine. I wrote back under it, though, but thank you for checking, April. I appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, that's the question you got to ask. If they feed it into the stereotype anyway, like, what do you do with that? Like, you're giving them all the ammunition they need, right? We saw what Cleotha did. And what was that? It was a movie done, I think, back in the 20s. What's it called? The KKK was behind that movie getting done, and it was about a black man, the birth of America. I think it was Birth of America or something like that. But anyway, it was real racist. It was a black and white movie. They didn't even have voice back in. It's one of the movie was so old. With those old movies where they played music in the background and you had to read what was going on the screen. Birth of America, something like that, right? And so the premise of that movie was, it was a whole propaganda tool set out. Yeah, Birth of a Nation. Thank you. A whole propaganda to demonize black men, right? So the whole premise of the movie was this black man raped this white woman, and the KKK was coming to her defense, and so they tracked this black man down, you know, to get justice for this white woman that he had, defiled or whatever. Yeah, Birth of a Nation. Thank y'all. And so that was the whole propaganda tool, right? Because we know that black people, but moreover black men, were being lynched, at random, back in them days. So, but when you see something like what Cleotha did, that's feeding into the stereotype, right? So I'm just, but then you hear this white man in Memphis saying that they're gonna start imposing tougher sentences. Who do you think is gonna pay for this? Do you think that Cleotha is just gonna pay for this, or do you think all black men are now gonna pay for this? Cause of this stupid nigga. See, that's nigga shit. You just validated all these Anglo's fears. They try to demonize you. To this day, they try to demonize you because we know that black men are born with a target on their back, and you just validated the number one fear that they got. You gonna do something to their women, right? You validated that. So okay, all right, okay, right. That don't make it make sense, and that's what he did. And there's no excuse for it. Zero excuse. Ain't no way you can talk out of it. He was wrong. It was inhumane. It was demonic. What both of these characters did within days of each other in Memphis, that's all inhumane. Like you have no sense of self. You are a demon, right? There is no remorse whatsoever going on here, and it don't make no sense. Okay? And you really have to really start questioning what's going on in the world around you. But what you also have to do is be as safe as you can. Make yourself as safe as you can, right? Be aware of your surroundings. You can't even trust your own darn people, especially if you're a black woman. Okay? Because we don't have nobody protecting us. We have to protect ourselves. Our black men are not worried about us. So we're left to defend ourselves. Do you see what I'm saying? At the end of the day. So, yeah. We don't have nobody defending our honor. All right? So, yeah. Because if we did, the femicide rate when it comes to black women wouldn't be so high. Okay? I'm just saying. So, y'all be careful out there. But this thing right here, this Ezekiel Kelly, this is beyond me. 19 years old. Done did all of this. You did it live streaming. Like, how does it make him any different from like a school shooter? How's he any different from that? Like, he streamed it Facebook. How about I do this as for real? Like, okay. And you want some brownie points for what? It's just beyond me. It's like he playing some kind of video game or something. I don't know. I don't know what the deal was. I don't even know what that was about. But if he really wanted to go out like a blaze of glory, he would have had a shootout with the police. But nope, that ain't what happened. But that also just goes to show you they can capture black men and keep them alive if they want to. Okay? Here are two perfect examples of they don't have to shoot you down in the street like you a dog. Okay? That's a perfect example of that too. You know. So anyway, that's all I got. I guess I'm tired of preaching now. Um, is it something that anybody wants to come up here and say before I log off? Hold on a minute. Okay, y'all. But anyway, let me log off of here. I guess that's all I got. Ain't nobody got nothing to say behind it. I appreciate you guys so much for listening in. Let me show y'all this slide real fast because I click off here. I found this on Facebook talking about Cleotha and how Cleotha was connected to possibly connected to. There's more odds here, right? So there's this Facebook thing, right? And when they're talking about Cleotha, Abston, and Eliza, and there's a thing that says y'all see it here on the screen, right? It's a Facebook post, right? And the question at the top says coincidence question mark. And these are some of the facts, some of the things that are connecting Eliza and Cleotha, right? It says it's Eliza's uncle, Michael E. Kenny, who spoke for Eliza's family during a press conference, is married to Ann Argill or Argill. That's number one, the number one connection. Y'all stay with me, right? Michael Kenny formerly served as the managing shareholder of Lewis Thomason Law Firm and also serves on the board of directors for Argill Inc. Right? I know I'm murdering that last name. Kemper Durand, that's the person I told you that Cleotha kidnapped at 16, was a lawyer at Lewis Thomason Law Firm at the time of his kidnapping. Right? That's who Cleotha kidnapped. Right? Says 4. Cleotha Abston was sentenced to prison for kidnapping Kemper Durand in May 2001 at the age of 16. We all know that. And the last one was Cleotha Abston is charged for kidnapping Eliza Fletcher, who was the granddaughter of billionaire Joseph, the granddaughter, y'all, of Joseph Argill III. And we know that she was killed here just on September 2nd, right? So the tie-in is, so she got all that granddaddy's money, the billionaire's money, right? And Eliza's uncle is tied to her billionaire granddaddy and Durant, the guy that Cleotha kidnapped when he was 16. All of this is tied around this Eliza. Eliza is just a victim of circumstance. Either way it go, she a victim of circumstance. You know. But you got to ask yourself, it's much more of a coincidence to me. But anyway, I just want to end and show y'all that because I just don't believe in coincidences to the point to where you got a whole lot of money involved. You got Anglos involved. You got this stuff starting at 20 years ago. This man has served 20 years in jail. Then up pops, he's still connected to the same family. Something else done happened. That's that's too much of a coincidence for me. Anyway, I want to show y'all that. But like I said, these are my theories. I'm not the only one that shares some of these theories, as well as I explained to y'all some of my own. It ain't that much coincidence in the world. But we're going to have to follow. That's right, follow the money. I know that's right, Sheba. Follow the money. You know. And so, yeah. Mm-hmm. You right about that. You know, Regina, you right about mental health issues, but you gotta take some time to figure out how much of this stuff going on right now in this world is mental health related, and how much of it is demon related. You know, how much is it actually demon related outside of a mental health issue? You know, like seriously. And so yeah. Hey, Cloud, I don't know if I said it earlier, but hey, but you're right, Cloud. It's deeper. Yeah, it's deeper than what's being said, and we may or may not ever find out what actually happened. But show is off a big coincidence to me. Show don't seem random to me, child. But I don't know. Right, that's right, Regina. Regina said, please remember the rich do not live or think the same as the working people of the world. That is true. There is also a difference between new money and old money culture. You're right about that. You're right about that. Yep, 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 yep. We know that money is the root of all evil, child. Especially when it comes to situations like this. Billions of dollars. Come on now. So I don't know about that. But okay. Time will tell, or maybe time won't tell. The general public will probably um never know. But sure is convenient to me. But anyway, I gotta go. It's both me. So I want to say it earlier. I can agree with that, Sheba. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. And so I really want to share these truth crime events with you guys. Um, it's been a long time since I had did a video that wasn't about anything other than YouTube mess, because I got burnt out a long time ago when it came to actual content. So this video felt really good. Um, so yeah, yeah. But anyway, that's all I got. I'm gonna talk to you guys. Love you guys. Be safe. Y'all watch our back, ladies. Everybody watch your back, but especially you ladies, watch your back, okay? Because we know this world ain't safe. You know, it not even in your own community. You're not safe. Just be careful. You know, be mindful of your surroundings. You know, just watch your back. You know. But anyway, on that note, I'm gonna talk to you guys later. If you haven't seen the beginning of the video, yeah, Chlorio, I'm getting ready to close. Please be part of the replay gang and go back to the beginning of the video. I'm sorry if I got a little snappy earlier. I don't like to repeat myself, and I don't like people spinning their own narrative about something that came out of my mouth just because they can't understand what it is that I'm saying, or because they don't like something that I said. Like I said what I said, you know. And I can't break it down no further sometimes, but I will if I can. You know, so it's always best to go back and listen to the beginning of the video and listen to understand as opposed to listen to respond. Do you see what I'm saying? Listen to understand, right? Because we know that we critically think over here, right? And so with that being said, I love you guys. I'm going to talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Peace.